Got it.
When you hear the sound of the bell, you know you are in the championship rounds with the one and only King Amin of Essex. It's been a lot of trouble for us to get this episode together. Some
Yeah.
issues with sound. So please, ladies and gentlemen, if you either see this and the sound quality is horrible, or if you never see this because the sound quality is horrible, this is going to be a great episode. I got to keep a low tone. I don't want the sound to get ruined because we got a great show today. I want you to introduce yourself, brother.
I am Retro Chris. I am a photographer, writer, and creator of Behind the Boxer magazine. I have literally done a lot of boxing coverage within just the course of 2 years. And I really want to put this magazine out and just show the world like these boxer stories.
Definitely, definitely. And that's where I think you and our paths kind of cross in terms of finding some of the nuances about the sport, about some of the fighters, and definitely salute to this project. If you just want to tell us a little bit about how you came into boxing.
Okay, so basically I've I haven't been like a huge sports fan, but since I was a kid, I've studied how boxing was shot, how basketball was shot, and a whole bunch of other things. So as I got older, I want to say I did boxing a few times, 2015, but it was in 2019 where I had the opportunity to do my first arena show. So I did that show, got some really great pictures, everything. And right after did the show, all my stuff was stolen from the hotel I was staying at. So it was like a blessing and a curse. Like I got the pictures, everything was great. Did my first big boxing event. Now everything else is gone.
So yeah, it sounds like a bit of a rocky story in of itself. You're fighting from underneath. You got to rebuild and kind of begin a new journey, right?
Yeah, completely new journey.
So, if, thus far, what has been the most exciting experience you had as far as what you do, as far as content or photo shoots?
I would say like the most exciting experience I've had thus far would be kind of going to Vegas last April and really introducing my book out there. Like the whole experience was pretty magical. Nico was having a fight, and I remember wondering, should I take the chance to go to Vegas to like put the book out there? And I wondered that, and it's crazy, but I was sitting at home talking to a friend about it, and the door opened by itself, literally. Like, and then I went to Vegas. Everything was kind of like just magical how everything happened. People bought the book, people loved the book. It was just crazy.
Yeah, you talking Nico Ali Walsh?
Yes, Nico Ali Wash.
Yeah. So, funny thing about that, if you remember, and I'm just being real with you, I don't think he's really related to Ali. I believe Alfredo Angulo is really his biological father. But be that as it may, um, it's a joke. It's a joke. Relax. Be that as it may, one I forgot the gentleman's name, but Muhammad Ali's photographer. I think that's an interesting aspect of the sport, having the photographer. I think the Charlos have a photographer. Alicia Bumgarner, you kind of see a lot of great stills and that sort of I don't know, that packaging for a fighter. And I think that's very important. What do you think? Do you think that that is a lost art as far as getting the photography, as far as the fighter packaging and marketing?
I think that like that's actually one of the most important parts of being a boxer, having that image behind you. Because once you have that image, you have it to where people can see you. They see like your story. Like for instance, they might just see you doing regular stuff through a photo, and they were able to relate to you, or they may see you in the gym, and then because they saw you in the gym, they're like, "Oh, he's like me." So when they see that, they're more likely anything people can relate to, they're more likely to like because they can actually see them in that person. So I feel like having the photography behind the boxer is very important because it shows who that person is in addition to who they are in the ring, who they are in their life, everything.
Well, let me ask you this because you mentioned likability, relatability. What fighter for you, or was it a particular fight, whether it was a kid or as an adult, really just drew you into the sport?
I'm gonna be honest. As a kid, I studied Muhammad Ali, like because I feel like Muhammad Ali is actually between him, Mike Tyson, and a few others. There, when you hear about boxing, you consistently hear about them nationwide, like, and it's both a blessing and I feel like it's also an injustice as well because not a lot of boxers are nationally shined on. Like it's there, you know it's there, but only certain ones actually get lifetime credit or recognition. Muhammad Ali is one of the only ones.
Well, and speaking of that, I think a part of that is business, and so today's, theme, if you will, is strictly business. All right. So let's get down to business, talk about some of today's topics. The first one being that some news Manny Pacquiao is being sued by a promoter. Now, boxing is very funny business. I've never heard the promoter, but some of the allegations, according to the article, I believe in Boxing Scene, is that Pacquiao had to sign to the promoter in order to get the McGregor fight. The fight never materialized, and somehow this promoter feels owed some money or somehow. What do you think of that sort of business happening in boxing, if you will?
I think it's crazy, and I honestly think it probably happens a lot more than it's talked about. But it's actually, from what I was looking, it looks like that happened multiple times with him. Like where he either had bad business or signed a contract and then actually followed through. And these were some pretty big fights, but he kind of like went over them to go to another fight because he wanted to do that one instead, or he just kind of jumped ship, in my opinion.
Well, your experience in the entertainment industry, I'm sure you've seen that. You take one bag, you're supposed to show up one place, you don't show up there, but then you show up the city next door, bigger bag, happens all the time. So I guess that is par for the course. That's regular business, huh?
Business.
All right. Well, that's one way to look at it. And then, but when you do business like that, I guess the flip side is that's why Manny Pacquiao was out here more recently fighting in some weird exhibition fight against. So, you know, I guess if you start off and you mentioned this isn't the first time, if you start off doing bad business, I guess you'll keep doing bad business, right? So
Yeah,
maybe, and that's, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, you're good. You're having to compromise in other ways. Like he might take another fight just to make up for a fight which he skipped out on.
Very good point. Because now talking about skipping out on fights, Teofimo Lopez Sr. is speaking on behalf of his son, Teofimo Lopez Jr., and saying that he's not interested in accepting a 35% cut or per split against in a title fight against Regis Prograis. Now, in my opinion, if the fight is for the titles and you want to make a name at 140, you want to kind of add to what you did at 135. I don't think that percentage matters, but maybe I'm a fool. What do you think about the business decision behind that one?
Okay, so with that one, I can see both sides of the story. Like he wants to have the bigger bag because he feels like it will be more worth it. But what he's not looking at is what the title and stuff could actually do for his career in the long run and the fights that could actually come. out of that. Versus he's just looking at it's just going to be a 35% purse. But that 35% purse can turn into even bigger fights, in my opinion.
And not only that, I think he should be happy with that 35% purse because he's coming off of a very controversial win off of Sandor Martin. A lot of people are not high or sold. And then after the show antics with the whole baby kind of weird interaction, you should be lucky to be in the discussion and offer that 35%. So I think, the Lopez is maybe doing a bit of bad business in this instance, man. I don't agree with it, man.
Yeah, there's been a lot of kind of back and forth with them.
And to that point, remember he did something similar with the Triller thing, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. We seeing a lot of fucked up business out here, man.
A lot.
Listen, they better call my guy George Hansen. I'm gonna have him on next week. George Hansen out of Philly, Harvard Law. Harvard Business, Howard Law. Talk to this brother. Y'all out here fucking up, man. I gotta plug y'all in, man. Now, I think what may be good business, moving on to the heavyweight division and talking about Deontay Wilder, who is a fan favorite. On two accounts, the fight with Andy Ruiz may be tentatively scheduled on Juneteenth. He's kind of making that his holiday. We've seen, Floyd Mayweather make Cinco de Mayo his holiday, right? Good business. We've seen Canelo now take over that holiday, right? But Wilder's doing something different, and he's establishing his own holiday, if you will. And it's funny because I think he stood and stands a lot to represent a lot of African Americanism. A lot of the idea of the black struggle, and he took that on his own. I gotta respect him for that. And so now he's got the Juneteenth date. What do you think of that fight and that business move?
I actually think that's a really good move because not only is it establishing, like you said, the black community and his stance, but it's also moving forward progressively. I think it's a really good move.
And what do you think about him fighting Andy Ruiz as an opponent? Because he's got bringing the Mexican constituency, the African American constituency, and then just the general boxing fans got a lot of elements there, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. I think that's a really good move too. Like, I was just reading about like some different things with him, like choosing fights, not choosing some fights, and kind of. I think it's a good move that he's actually moving forward with this.
Yeah, definitely. Now, if it were up to me, I think me and Wilder are in the same position because Wilder doesn't think, I guess, much of Andy Ruiz as an opponent. He don't think Andy Ruiz got nothing for him. I don't want him to overestimate Andy Ruiz. The last person did that was Anthony Joshua. You see how that turned out. But at the same time, speaking of Anthony Joshua, I wish that this were a Juneteenth fight. Although I guess the racial overtones wouldn't sit well, two black dudes fighting on Juneteenth. But, I wish just for the excitement and the unfinished business between those two guys, but we got to take what we can get, right?
Yeah, I feel like in boxing, a lot of times we do have to take what we can get. Like, it's so many good fights that could actually happen, but they don't happen for various reasons. Like, for instance, like the Four Kings, they all fought each other. Like, they killed each other no matter what. I feel like in boxing today, it's a lot of people that are not willing to fight each other because either they want to keep that win behind their name or they're scared to lose one fight. So they won't go against certain opponents.
Well, I tell you where that doesn't happen that often, and that's in women's boxing. All right. Now, just in general, if you've been paying anybody that's been paying attention, I mean, we had some big fights. Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. We had the all women's pay-per-view card, Shields, Marshall, and Bumgarner Mayer. What's your take on women's boxing right now?
I think it's really good. I think it's a good movement. I want to see it move forward more progressively and also get a lot more light shined on it because it's been kind of there, but it hasn't been shined on like it should. And I feel like women should have equal amount of rights in boxing as men have. So I would like to see more cards with women boxers.
Definitely. And we have one coming up next week, actually. Amanda Serrano and Erica Cruz. That's for undisputed at featherweight. Alicia Bumgarner's going for undisputed on that undercard as well. Against Eileen Mikad, I believe. And more importantly, talking about making progress. And this is dear to my heart. And I've been every time I get a chance, but Nick Cannon beating the drum for Shadasia Green, recent signee to Most Valuable Promotions, Paterson, New Jersey. The sweet what she call herself, the sweet Terminator. Oh man, goddamn! I can't wait for her to and Eileen Cederroos. Now, Eileen Cederroos was on the co-feature against Franchon Cruz Dezern for Serrano and Taylor. So Cederroos is championship level, and for Shadasia Green to have that opportunity to fight, a championship level fighter, and the mandatory becomes, the winner becomes the mandatory for Cruz Dezern. Remember, you said in the men's boxing, the Four Kings, we didn't get what we wanted out of this version of the Four Kings, but women's boxing does it again, man. What do you think of those as far as those upcoming bouts?
I think that's huge. Like I like her. I like her style. She seems to be fearless. She's about that life.
Yeah.
Like that was a really good move signing her as well because like she's like I don't care. Like I just want to get at her. Like I'm going to beat her. Like she has that attitude. She has that spunk. It's like she's not even thinking about anything. She just sees it and she's ready to go.
So proud of that, man. I can't wait to see her shine. I can't wait to see her. You see that? Ear to
Yeah,
ear.
she has it.
Uh, so moving into this weekend's fights, another fight that I've been beating the drum for, really excited about, is the light heavyweight division matchup between Artur Beterbiev or Beterbiev, and he better be on his A game against Anthony Yard. Um, this is a big bout. I've been saying for a while, it's more 55-45. Some people see it, another way, but I'm telling you, I'm high on Yard. Could be bias or it could be just observing the experience he's had with Kovalev, having to build himself back to this second championship opportunity. And I think even though people think that there's things that he's been limited in his training, I think that his experiences are some things you cannot teach, and he's going to be very ready. Now, if I'm wrong, all that means is that Better Beef is who we say he is. Rest in peace to Denny Green. All right. So yeah, man. What do you think of this big matchup this weekend?
I'm gonna be honest. Like I really think Yard has the potential to beat him. Like I don't mean that in a bad way because they're both. I just finished watching the press conference. They're both very humble individuals. There's not really any beef. It's more like, okay, we're about to fight. So now it's time for them to show us what they got in the ring. And just based on what I've seen from Yard, I really, really like his style. I also like his level of professionalism as well. I feel like he has the potential to do it, to be honest. I feel like he shouldn't be underestimated at all.
And I think one of the things that he has gained that can't be taught is poise and composure. I think that
Exactly.
he's gained a sense of poise and composure. He's going to be ready. And again, regardless of the outcome, I think this is an opportunity for us to see where Better Beef is at, because a lot of people have been looking over Yard and just getting straight to the Dimitri Bivol bout. But I think we need to see this from Better Beef, and then if all goes well for either fighter, I know Bivol's going to be waiting right in the wings, man. Some other action we got this weekend. You have the Golden Boy card. I forgot where. I think it's out of Inglewood, California. Alexis Rocha, he's in there against his replacement opponent, African brother, George Ashy out of Ghana. and this is a replacement from Anthony Young. Anthony Young is out. I'm not really sure what the circumstances are. You also have, which, and we'll talk behind the scenes, but my guy Lids Low, aka the Fans Corner, also out of Atlanta, he pointed out that the fight to watch this weekend should be Floyd Kid Austin Schofield versus Alberto Mercado. So tell me what you think about any of this action as far as before we get to it this weekend.
Honestly, I feel like that is a fight to watch because I was lucky enough to see Floyd quite a few times, like during right after the pandemic started in 2021. I saw him fight twice, and he's literally a beast when it comes to fighting. He takes no mercy when he gets in the ring. So I'm interested. If I'm correct, this would be his debut fight on nationwide TV.
I believe so.
Yeah. So I saw him in a boxing gym back in the day at a fight, which the audience was really big, but I'm just curious. I can't wait to see because he's progressed so much since then. Like I've literally been able to watch him just change his style, get even better. I'm excited for that fight.
And what we know, man, when you take care of business in the ring, win or lose, when you put on a good performance, um, you have the opportunity to continue doing good business for yourself. So, salute to all these guys this weekend. Listen, I want to thank you for joining me. Any closing thoughts before we get up out of here?
Um, Basically, regardless of whether you go in the ring, you win, you lose, you are a winner because you took that chance actually going into the ring. Facing an opponent, getting hit, getting punched, any of that, it takes a lot. So I just want to say, anyone who does it, you're a winner.
Definitely. And ultimately, boxing is life, and not just in a physical way, but in a way of overcoming adversities. In the same way you have to prepare for a fight is the same way I think the same intensity, the same focus, the same discipline you should prepare for any challenge or any endeavor you embark on. And that's why, I like running, into, like-minded people and anybody out here trying to make a contribution to this thing of ours. So I want to thank you for joining me. I want you to give your socials one more time before we get out of here.
Okay. You can on Instagram, I am behind the Boxer magazine, and you can follow me there. This is the first issue of the magazine, and basically, it just tells the story of different boxers, what they went through, just the full shabazz. And that's it.
Definitely, ladies and gentlemen, if you see this man out here, support him, show him some love. He's putting in the work as we all do. And guys, thank you for joining me. Um, give us a like, drop a comment, check him out on IG. You know where to find me, of course. It's your boy King Amin of Essex with those championship rounds. We out of here.